How are you, Adonis?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, very well. Well, we've got 15 minutes, Adonis. So tell me about your story and how you're hoping I can be helpful.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Adonis. I have 2+ years of sales experience. I started off in insurance sales, and then in 2022 I moved into SaaS sales. I started off as a SMB account executive for a PLG company. I was their first sales hire, but then after like 3 months, they realized they didn't really need a sales person. They didn't really need a sales team anymore. I think they hired two sales SMB AEs, then they just laid us off after. And then after that, I moved on to a company called Deal as an SDR. And recently, they got rid of most of their SMB SDR team and their mid market, and they've only kept on a few reps, and they're literally hiring new reps. So, what I wanted to get out of this call is two different things: stuff to do about career growth and mindset. As you can tell, I've already had like a rough start to like my sales career. So the first question I had for you was, what advice would you have for someone who wants to advance in their sales career after a layoff?
Interesting. It sounds like you have had a bit of a rough time. Tell me, Adonis, what are you striving towards in your life, personally and professionally?
Okay, so personally, actually, no, professionally, I want to excel in my career. I want to be a top performer. I want to be someone who will become a leader. I'm an SDR, and I want to go to an AE role. I want to be a top performer as an individual contributor, and make as much money as possible within sales. And then personally, I want to be able to provide for my family, to do well and be a good example to my brother, and also have a family one day who I'm able to provide for the best I can. So that's the two things in terms of personal and professional life.
The great movement. And so you want to, in essence, unpack just some advice for how you can bounce back from going through a layoff, in essence.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely get you. The reason I asked you what it is, what type of vision you have for your future, and typically I'd spend a bit more time unpacking that with you, is because the first thing is you've got to have a compelling why. You've got to have something that's going to fuel you every single day so that no matter what comes your way, you are mentally primed and ready to always play attack. The reality is that, life is about a game of you focusing on the things within your sphere of control. And
Yeah,
you allow your emotions to be dictated by things that are not within your sphere of control, you are constantly going to be on a roller coaster of emotions because
sure.
layoffs are out of your control. The way your manager treats you is out of your control. The decisions that everyone outside of yourself makes is out of your control. And so you've got to get to a point in your life where you hold yourself to your own standards, your own barometer of expectation, and anything that happens to you outside of that, you don't let define you. And so when you've got that mental fortitude and then you've got a compelling why and a vision for the things that will fuel you, a layoff just becomes a stepping stone, a set of lessons and learnings that allow you to continue to propel forward.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I think, yeah, that was very helpful, especially when you said around, you know, um, things that are out of your control. And yeah, things which have happened to me are out of my control, really. So yeah, you're right. I need to bounce back and do things which are in my control to move forward.
Absolutely. You had a second question.
Yeah. So my second question was, in terms of getting back on the market now, well, I feel like, well, when I was at Deal, my manager left 2 months into my role, and we hadn't had a manager for like 7, 8 months after that. And then the next month after the manager came, all the reps got laid off. So I don't think I've had like enough professional development to maybe move back into an SMB AE role. Um, and I feel like I need to pay my dues as an SDR. One thing that I did notice is that I feel like I need to improve on things like cold calling, tonality, and things like that. I know a lot of people say it's about like volume, doing a lot of, volume with cold calls and things like that. But how do you think I can prepare myself before getting into my next role in terms of cold calling, in terms of like personality and just general like sales skills?
Yeah, so people will often say, as you say, that you need to get a high volume of activity, and that's definitely for good reason. But it's also important to remember that just simply getting the reps in, if they're not the right type of reps, is actually only encouraging and facilitating bad behaviors, right? Or behaviors that are not going to set you up for a sustainable future. So what I'd recommend is, first and foremost, mentorship. You know, we kind of ban these words around mentorship, but you've got to find someone who has gone and walked the path that you want to walk and achieve the things that you want to achieve, who can guide you and help you to truly understand what it takes to be best in class in your field. Because your job is not to do 1,000 cold calls. Your job is to do 1,000 cold calls that are scrutinized, that you know are being interrogated and looked into by someone who knows what they're doing. And so you want to get a high volume of just best in class reps. So I would say get a mentor that is external to any company that you work for, that can really be with you and hold you to a standard. And then the second aspect, it is absolutely doing the work. Plus, you know, if you got to see my phone when I started as a BDR, SDR, you know, I had just an insane amount of voice recordings on my phone, and I still have now, because I would literally just sit there and do the calls and record them, and then I would video myself, watch it back. And I did so many, you know, people just wouldn't be able to keep up with the pace. So I would recommend combining the mentorship with the high output, and between those two things, you should find yourself continuing to learn, earn, and grow.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, looking into getting a mentor and then reviewing my calls and just improving that way. And then what other question? Did I have any other question? Yeah, I think that's all I had. That's all I wanted to ask. And yeah, so as I said, like I'm back on the market. What do you think I can do to get back on the market as quick as possible? I want to go through interview processes. How can I like vet opportunities that come my way? So, for example, one of the companies that I'm in an interview process with is in the same industry as my previous company. So I'd probably want to stay in that industry, or maybe look if I do get the opportunity or move to other industries. But how can I vet like a good sales role to be in terms of being an SDR, like in terms of a sales role? Because you know, like not every sales role gets the same in terms of the managers not being transparent in terms of their reps and quota and things like that. So how can I really vet a company before actually joining?
What's your criteria for what you're looking for from your next move?
My criteria is that the product has like good product market fit, you know, reps are hitting quota, it's a evergreen product, so it's like a, you know, that customers must need it and things like that. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense. The reason I asked you was because I wanted to see how fluid your response was. And the reason, what I can tell just from hearing your response, is that you haven't spent enough time sitting down, truly working through your criteria for your next move. And I can tell from your response that you threw that answer together, right? Because those things are important to you, but you can't reel off, here are the 5 things that I need in my next move, and these are the 5 ways I'm going to go about establishing whether these companies have those things. And I say that, Adonis, because that is your next step. You need to go and find a company that's got a uncapped market potential, who's got a proven leadership team and a development track, right? Who are the initial ingredients, and then a culture that can foster and enable high performance and talent of your nature who's early in their career. But you want to sit and first of all say, right, this is my criteria. Then you've got to go and map out, how are you going to evaluate against each of those things? So a big market opportunity, that's subjective, right? It means different things to different people. So you've got to understand, what does that mean to Adonis? And also, what does that mean in relation to the current state of the market? What does uncapped market opportunity actually mean, right? So you've got to take the time to do that type of research. Then you've got to say, right, now I understand what it is and what it means. How am I now going to evaluate that during an interview process? Is it
Yeah,
equipped with an easy question, or is there something more or less to it? So you've got to just take the time to work through those two things in stages.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, and that's fair enough. Yeah, because I don't know exactly what I want per se right now, and yeah, I do need to do the research. That makes sense.
Absolutely. And Adonis, you've got a name that's destined for greatness. So I want a message from you in a few months where you tell me where you're at and what you're doing, because you got an incredible name, and you've got to go out there and do some incredible things.
100%. I'm gonna connect with you on LinkedIn. I follow you, but I'm gonna connect with you. But yeah, thank you for the call today. I really appreciate it, and I will get that. I will get back in touch with you for sure.
Absolutely. No, it was lovely to speak to you. Lovely to speak to you as well, Adonis. As I say, great name and destined for greatness. So go out and do some wonderful things. Thanks for scheduling the time.
Thank you so much, man. See ya.
Take care now. Bye bye.